What's up YouTube? Welcome to my vlog. This weekend we're going to Portugal to race the last round of the 2017 ELMS Championship. I'm driving the LMP2 car with United Autosports with teammates Philippe Albuquerque and Hugo de Sadlier. The three of us are currently second in the championship, 18 points behind. We have to do everything we can this weekend to win the championship. Before we can get started though, we have to get to Portugal, so sit back and enjoy the ride. As soon as we got to Portimao, we went to lunch with my teammates Hugo and Philippe. Philippe's family also came, his wife Joanna and his daughter Carolina. My manager Tony also met up with us after coming all the way from Austin. It was a long trip for everybody, but we were happy to have made it. Day 2 here at Portimao. Today we're doing a track walk, and actually we have a practice later this afternoon, but right now we're just getting a refresh on the track, checking it out, looking at all the curbs, any new bumps and anything like that. So yeah, it's a long day ahead of preparation, and then the real work begins tomorrow. Here's a map of the track in Portugal. You can see the corner numbers and you can see the direction that the circuit goes as well. This track usually takes 1.5 minutes to 1.40 minutes to get around, just depending on what kind of tires you have and how hot or cold it is. To do well on this track, you have to make sure the car is set up for all different kinds of corners, slow, medium, and high speed. You don't want to have to compromise one for the other because there's so much variety on this track. You need to be able to tackle all of it with a good car. One characteristic of this track though that's pretty important to note is how bumpy it is. And that was definitely a factor for every team this weekend, trying to make the car work over the bumps. And as you'll see later on, that was one of my main complaints in the first practice. Okay, so this is turn 4, the hairpin. This is a pretty tricky one because it's hard to see on the video, but it's actually very bumpy here. And even though it's a pretty smooth surface for a P2 car, any little bumps it can really throw the car off. So tricky to get down the brakes here and slow the car down, and then down there is the actual corner, which will be in first gear. Okay, so here's another pretty cool point on the track. We're coming down this straight here. This is out of that hairpin that I showed you. We have a fast right-hander here in 4th gear, and then over here braking down to 2nd gear into this sort of awkward corner that comes up this hill. It's usually pretty slippery. The car is always sliding around, and it's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but when you're sitting on the ground, it's completely blind, so you cannot see anything that's over the top of this hill, especially when you're down there. So there could be many surprises over the top, and we'll have no idea until we get to about where those guys are up there walking. Okay, this is the last corner of the track. Comes around here, super quick, long right-hander. That's the front straight over there. So you come around here, and you kind of have to commit. You come over the top of this hill, and the front of the car loses grip. So for a second, you feel like, oh boy, I'm going to that wall right over there. But then you come down here, and the track compresses right here. So the front of the car gets more grip, and then it allows you to turn through the rest of the corner. So kind of need some commitment. That is a short look at some of the best corners on the circuit. After having some lunch and a meeting to get briefed on our plan for practice, we were ready to go. I was the first one out in the car with new tires, so it would be my job to start tuning the car right away, as well as getting comfortable with the track. Unfortunately, the onboard video from the event does not have a great view, so instead of an onboard lap, you'll get to see a great high-speed driver change where I hand the car off to Philippe for the next part of practice. So now I'm coming off the track, getting ready to hand the car over to Philippe. So what I do is just stay tight on this corner right here and take the pit entry. And I'm going to slow all the way down to 60 kilometers an hour and put the speed limiter on. It's a button on the top right, and you can see the screen is flashing green. What I'm going to do here is get ready, put my finger on the engine kill button, put my foot on the clutch, put the clutch in, hit the brakes, kill the engine, unbuckle my seatbelt, and jump out. Now Philippe is going to come in, he's going to put his seat insert down, he's going to jump in, grab the bottom belts, grab the top as well, and with the help of Jojo, one of the mechanics, he's going to start buckling in. And then you're also going to see him in a second take his radio and plug it in. That's what a driver change looks like from inside the car. Really just out of the range at first, and really there were two problems that I was trying to describe. It was the bottoming, which you made a change. The first change you made definitely made it better. Like, I noticed right away that I wasn't touching everywhere. Yeah. And at that point, actually it still needed to be higher, but my focus was more on like the suspension, because another thing is the power down was not very good for new tires. It felt like it wasn't, the tires weren't really like using the grip on the track. They were just like sliding over it and instantly spinning.
If you don't make it right, it's easy to have the rear left inside like wheel spinning. Okay. You're like, ah. I mean, I think the car is quite balanced. I think as we put the brakes and the tires, B tires, yes. I think the car will be connected in a way. I think tomorrow morning I will enjoy the car. And because by having a little bit more grip overall, we will not feel as much the upsetting over the bumps.
So, that's it for day one. We were feeling pretty good about the car despite just a couple of complaints. We left it to the crew and our engineer Gautier to work on the car overnight and get it ready for practice in the morning. Meanwhile, us drivers went to the restaurant to get some good Portuguese food and then get a good night's rest because we jumped straight into practice 2 early Saturday morning. Philippe was the first one out in practice 2. He was going to evaluate the car and then hand it off to Hugo and I so that we could make changes as well. This is a really important part of the weekend because it was going to be our last chance to set up the car before qualifying. We liked it a lot better than it was the day before. It was a lot better over the bumps, and it also felt like it had a lot more grip and that it was interacting with the track a lot more. We have to thank our engineer Gautier for that, since he's the one that took all of our feedback, put it together, and then made changes for the car. After the practice was over, we were feeling great and ready to go for qualifying.
So LMP2's already had a minute of this session. You've missed nothing though, because this is the cars being released from the pit lane. 12 LMP2's, and the championship currently being led by G-Drive Racing, the orange and black car. Very easy to spot the entry from Russia, and they have an 18-point lead over the number 32 United Autosports car.
After a short qualifying session, Philippe had put the car in 5th. This was a pretty decent starting point for the race, and after 4 hours anything can happen, so we felt pretty confident that we could catch the number 22 car and possibly make a move. As the commentator said, we were 18 points behind, so it was going to take everything we had in the race. Hello, just a quick update from Saturday and here in Portugal. Super good day today. It was a much different feeling than yesterday. Yesterday we were a little frustrated just because it was pretty tough session as far as the car goes. It was bouncing all over the place, and the bottom of the car was too low, so it was rubbing on the track, which can produce some pretty dangerous moments, especially when you're going over 150. So woke up this morning and our engineer Gautier worked all night on it, working with the feedback that we gave him in the meeting yesterday to make it right. Yeah, and the car was much softer, which it was able to work with the bumps better on the track, and yeah, much better feeling, and everybody's feeling really good on the team. It's a pretty nice evening. We'll hopefully it remains this way for the race tomorrow, and we can have some good weather for the race. But yeah, it's predicted to be sunny. At this point, anything can happen. We know we have a pretty good race car, and we're feeling excited for it tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll wait and see. I'm gonna go get a good rest, get a nice dinner, wake up early, and just do what we normally do, push as hard as we can, and see if we can make a good result happen. Morning, everybody. Day 3 in Portugal. Hugo, Philippe, Tony over there, and we're just walking to the track for the morning, getting warmed up. Yeah, it's beautiful actually.
Beautiful. Come on, look at the sky, blue sky. Come on, I keep telling you, we have good weather here.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, open expectations today. Got a lot of hard work to do. Philippe's got a lot of fans bothering him the whole day for sure.
Don't worry.
And a big autograph session coming up for Hugo.
Lots of fun. Well, soon you will have a lot of fans as well with your vlog.
Yeah, with me, yeah.
Yeah, your
this
blog
is going to
is-
grow to be a big
Oh
thing,
yeah,
huh?
it's gonna be big, man.
What do you think, Hugo?
I don't know. I feel like they won't they won't need to see you because they have the vlog, you know.
Yeah.
They'll get to know you so personally.
They're not going to come to the autograph session if they can just see my vlog or whatever. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Although we were joking around and having a good time, we all knew it was time to really get serious about the race ahead. The process leading up to the race usually consists of an autograph session followed by a driver's briefing where we go in-depth about the strategy and the plan for the race. And then, from there, it's all mental prep and physical prep and prep for the car as well to make sure everything is squared away. The crew makes sure that the car is ready, and they also make sure that they're ready with all their gear. They make sure all the radios are ready and all the telemetry is ready to give the full report during the race. Now, after all the hard work, all the preparation over the whole past year and over the past couple days, we were ready to go. The race was ready to start, and so were all the drivers.
In fact, hasn't. Just trying to build the temperature and the tyre pressure. Now we're underway, and this span of cars, which pretty much stretches from one side of the circuit to the other, they are entirely splayed out. 6 abreast into the first bend, but it looks to be a good getaway from Fabian Barthez, but a great start from Hugo de Sadalia, who's got ahead of car 22.
As the commentator said, Hugo had a great start to the race and was already passing for first place just a couple laps in. This was a great opportunity for Hugo to drive clear away from the field, gain a lot of time on everybody, and keep the car in first place until I got in the car later in the race. I had a really fun stint and had a lot of great racing moments. Actually, at one point I made contact with another LMP2 car because we were both trying to pass a GT. But it ended up not doing any damage to the car and didn't cost us any time. So I kept pushing, and towards the end of my stint I started catching up to the number 22 car who was ahead of us in the championship. That was a lot of fun, pushing really hard to catch up to them, but unfortunately they pitted before I could get to them. So I finished out my stint and then got ready to hand the car over to Philippe so he could finish the race. Philippe needed to conserve fuel so that he could make it the whole way without pitting, but he also needed to be super quick so he could finish in second. That's exactly what Philippe did. He didn't have to make the extra pit stop, and his speed was really good enough that we were able to finish second. Hello again. Just finished my first ever season of sports car racing. I finished second in the championship, and it's a great feeling. Feeling so thankful right now and blessed for the year. It's been awesome to be with a team like United right off the bat, and it's set the expectation high for coming years for sure. And I'm excited that I'm going to keep going and keep pushing and see if I can come back and win the championship next year. So, yeah, today we finished second in the race. And second in the championship. We needed to have a little bit more luck in order to win the championship today. To be honest, it was over at the previous race. But yeah, it's not too bad right now. Second, and looking around in Portugal, it's pretty beautiful. So I'm very happy, team's very happy, and tonight we celebrate. So that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed seeing an ELMS weekend from the inside. Next up for me is the Daytona 24 Hours in January 2018. Stay tuned for more.